Hello everybody. In this video I will show you how to use Excel to create a couple of different types of samples. So we're going to use the data that I linked for you guys on Blackboard. We're going to go to Module 1, Week 1, Learning Materials, and there's a folder that has all the data sets for Chapter 7. So we're going to go ahead and use the first file, AT&T. Okay. All right, so here we have number of minutes that customers that call AT&T have to wait before the phone call is answered. Okay, so we're gonna take a look at this population, and looks like we have 160 observations in here. And before we do any type of analysis, we have to do the following. We have to activate one of the add-ins. So we're going to go to File, Options, and we're going to go to Add-ins, and then all the way down where it says Manage Excel Add-ins, we're going to go and press Go. And you would want to enable Analysis Toolpak. Okay, press OK, and that's all you have to do. You don't have to do it again. Once you open up Excel, this will be enabled automatically. All right, so we're gonna go to Data, and this is what happens here. This Data Analysis button appears as soon as you enable that add-in. Okay, we would like to generate a sample of, let's say, 20 customers. So let's say sample 1. Sample size here is 20. And I want to go ahead and use a random sample. So random sample. How would I do that? Okay, I'm going to go to Data, Data Analysis, and scroll to Sampling. Press OK. I need to tell what the input range is. So I need to say I'm going to go from cell A1 to all the way 140. So you can drag it down, or you can just type it in here, because we know there are 100 and not 140, 160 observations, right? So that's our range. And we're going to use random sample, and we need to have 20. And the output range is the destination where these numbers will be plugged in. So you press this one and it will highlight the cell. So this is C6. You can look at the intersection of the letter and the number. That's the column, that's the row. So that's where we're gonna go. Okay, so let's just run through this again. Input, that's the data that we're going to be using to collect a sample from. Okay, method, random. Number, that's how many observations you would like to have in your sample. Output, that's where these numbers will be stored. Press OK, and now I have this sample right here. Because I like things organized, I'm gonna go ahead and center them all. So here's my sample number 1, random sample 1, and these are observations that I got from here. Okay, now let's say I wanted to get a slightly different type of sampling method. So this one is systematic. Okay, and here sample 2. And let's say I want to do every 15th. Okay, so how would I do that? We're gonna go to back to Data tab, Data Analysis, Sampling. Okay, input is still the same, but now for sampling method, we're gonna check periodic. Okay, and what's the period? That is the number that you're going to pick as far as each 10th, each 15th, each 20th, right? So we're gonna go for 15th. Okay, the output, I'm gonna highlight this cell right here. Okay, so that's E6, that's where my numbers are gonna go. I'm gonna double check everything. So from A1 to A160, periodic 15, this looks good. Press OK. All right, so this sample is a little smaller, but that's okay. Let me go ahead and center all of it. All right, let's see. So now what else can I do with this data? Let's go ahead and talk about sampling error. We can compute the population mean, right? What does it mean? What is the average number of minutes that customers that call AT&T have to wait? And that one is pretty self-explanatory. You know what the mean is. You add up all the numbers and divide by the total number of observations. So if you were to do it manually, you would add up all of these numbers and divide by 160. Now there is a command in Excel that will do that for you, and it will be just average. So you plug in enter. I'm sorry, not enter, equal average, because it's a function, and it will give you the description, returns the average arithmetic mean of its arguments. So we need to open parentheses and plug in the range in here. The range is the same as before. It's from A1 up to A160. You can drag it if you want, but because it's pretty long, it's easier for me to just type in 160. Okay, press enter, and we see that the population mean is 4.1. So 4.1 minutes, that's the average number of minutes, that's the average amount of time that AT&T customers have to wait before their phone call is answered. Okay, now how do we do sampling error? Well, we have to compute the mean, the sample mean 1 for each of these samples. Okay, let's see. So what are we going to do? Do the same thing as before. Now we have a different range. So equal average, open parentheses, select our cells, 3.8, sample mean 2. We're gonna do equal average, .62. Okay, so that's information about our mean. So let's do sampling errors. Sample error 1, and what is it? It is the sample mean minus the population mean. So let's see, 3.8 minus 4.1, we get negative 0.3. So the sample mean for our random sample is a little bit smaller than the population mean, but it's pretty close, right? So you would say, okay, that's a pretty good estimate. Okay, and then sample error 2, we're gonna do equal, and then you select your sample mean here minus the population mean, and you see that the sample error here is a lot bigger, right? So 1.5, 1.5 minutes higher. Okay, this shouldn't come as a surprise. You see that this sample is a lot bigger, and it's also random sample. It's bigger than this one right here. That should give you a better characteristic of your population. If you guys want, let's go ahead and check what happens if we pick even bigger samples. So let's do random sample 3 and let's select 40. Okay, now we know how to do this. We're gonna go to data analysis, sampling. The input is the same. I'm gonna get 40 observations. My output is gonna go here, G6. Let's check everything. Input good, method good, output okay. I get these numbers right here. All right, if you guys do the same method, you're gonna get slightly different numbers. So let's go ahead and compute sample mean 3. That would be our average. And where we go? We go from here all the way to this cell, close parentheses. 4.2825. That's pretty good. So what's our sample error? Let's put it right here. Sample error 3. That would be equal this number minus the population mean. That's a really good estimate. As you can imagine, the bigger your sample size is, the better characteristics you get. Okay? All right. Thank you for watching.